how much I've had to work. I wish I knew how much I've made. I wish there was a Bible verse that could help me out with that. You know what? There is. Look at this. Matthew 18. Starting in verse 23. Man, this thing is convenient. I had it bookmarked and everything. Verse 23, it says, "Therefore the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. As he began this settlement, a man who owed him 10,000 bags of gold, or 10,000 talents, as some translations say, was brought to him." 10,000 talents. I didn't know what that meant. I had to look it up. You know what I found? That a talent is the equivalent for a daily, like a day's laborer, like that person who is in the fields working, that a talent is 20 years of their life, daily, at the grind, working. 20 years of their life equals 1 talent. And this was someone who was indebted to the king 10,000 talents. Did a little bit of math. Had to get my calculator out, but I added it up. About 200,000 years worth of a day's laborer of their wages is what it was. How am I going to pay that back? So much for my retirement, right? So much for just Sundays. Maybe I'll have to double up, get extra credit, work extra hard. The story goes on. It says, obviously, he wasn't able to pay the master, so he ordered that he and his wife and his children and all that he had be sold to pay the debt. At this, the servant fell on his knees before the king and said, "Be patient with me," he begged, "and I will pay back everything." It says the master took pity on him. He's just sitting there looking at this guy who's groveling, saying, "I'll pay back everything." And he's just like shaking his head. "No, you won't. You can't. That was the whole point of this thing. Is that you're going to have to sell yourself, your wife, your children, everything that you are, everything that you had. You can't pay it back. And you're here on your knees just begging me, I'll pay back everything." But the master had pity on him. Canceled the debt, and he let him go. I don't know what kind of home you grew up in. I don't know in the formative years of your life and faith what messages were being planted. But this concept is very, very foreign to me. I look at this and I see someone who was sold into slavery. And now, because the master took pity, that person is free. That debt is just let go. Yesterday I talked about John 8:34 through 36, and I had this idea that if the king, if the master, if the son sets you free, then you will be free indeed. So that's it. You're done. You're free. I took pity on you. You asked for patience. You begged me. You had good intentions that weren't going to ever happen. So just cancel the debt. You're free. You, wife, kids, they're not enslaved. You aren't enslaved. Everything that you have, you can still keep that. And you let them go. Does that blow anyone away? Is that kind of a crazy concept? I'm going to read a couple things, and if you guys want to, go ahead and close your eyes. Just kind of imagine this idea as I read. If you don't want to close your eyes, you don't have to, that's fine. If the king sets you free, you will be free indeed. If the master sets you free, you will be free indeed. If the son sets you free, you will be free indeed. Free from a debt that cannot be paid. Free from oneself. Free from sin. Free from guilt. Free from shame. Free from damnable impulses that we cannot stop because of our bondage to sin. Free from tyranny of others' opinions, expectations, and demands. Free indeed. Now things start to make sense. Things things that I'd heard along the way that I didn't pay minds to because they're in direct conflict with what I had heard in my formative years. The song that I heard on the radio one time that said, "A river is where the strong can swim down deep, but the weak and the broken walk across so easily." Not too long ago at church, I heard this quote, "Do this and live, the law commands, but gives me neither feet nor hands. A better way his grace doth bring. It bids me fly and gives me wings." New appreciation for the way I read Romans 5, verse 20, where it says, "Where sin increased, grace increased all the more. Now I no longer have to pretend that my prerogative jives with the Invictus idea, but instead I'm rejoicing in an anti-Invictus perspective from this other poem that says this." Keep your eyes closed just for one more little bit. "Out of the light that dazzles me, bright as the sun from pole to pole, I thank the God I know to be, for Christ, the conqueror of my soul. Since his, the sway of circumstance, I would not wince nor cry aloud. Under that rule which men call chance, my head with joy is humbly bowed. Beyond this place of sin and tears, that life with him and his the aid, despite the menace of the years, keeps and shall keep me unafraid. I have no fear, though straight the gate. He cleared from punishment the scroll. Christ is the master of my fate. Christ is the captain of my soul." Actually, there's one other thing I want to read. While your eyes are still closed, you're still in this place trying to sort through what you feel about grace, what you're thinking about grace. So we got into Tillage, who says this: "Grace strikes us when we're in great pain and restlessness. It strikes us when we walk through the dark valley of a meaningless and empty life. It strikes us when year after year the longed-for perfection does not appear. The old compulsions reign within us as they have for decades. When despair destroys all joy and courage. Sometimes, at that moment, a wave of light breaks into our darkness, and it is as though a voice were saying, 'You are accepted. You are accepted. Accepted by that which is greater than you, in the name of which you do not know. Do not ask for the name now. Perhaps you will find it later. Do not try to do anything now. Perhaps you will do it later. Do not seek for anything. Do not perform anything. Do not intend anything. Simply accept the fact that you are accepted. If that happens, you will experience grace." Open your eyes if you want to. Well, open your eyes so I don't think you're sleeping. Guys, that's grace. There were a lot of different ideas communicated in there. My hope was that in your time of contemplation, that the one that was directed for you landed, that it hit home. Maybe you didn't grow up in a works-based environment. Maybe you didn't have you get out of it what you put into it, quote in your ear constantly. Maybe your parents didn't demand this thing that you thought was a high standard, higher than you could attain. Maybe you got grace a lot growing up. Maybe you grew up in that, what we talked about yesterday, the Christian home, Christian school, Christian church, Christian friends, Christian breakfast cereal, Christian car, Christian everything. Maybe that's you. Maybe you don't have that much of a need for grace. I pray that your eyes will be illuminated to this picture of grace, that what it is something that is real, and it's something that's needed. People who have a hard time with grace, hard time thinking that they need grace, are people who struggle with pride, people who struggle with entitlement. But this gospel of grace is something that we should, with everything that we have, with everything that we are, completely embrace. In 1,000 steps to God, we don't take 999. We don't take 500. We don't even take one. God takes 1,000 steps to us. And it's out of that recognition, out of that realization, out of that picture of grace and mercy and love that we overflow. And that pours into the things that we do. Let us thank God for this amazing grace. Let us thank Him that we are now free to love, free to obey, free to allow others to be who they are, to live beyond the limitations of human effort, free to serve, free to glorify Christ, free to forgive. Forgive yourself, free to forgive others. Awesome. See how the story ended up. Sure ended up like that. Someone owed 200,000 years of their life, and their wife's life, and their kids' life, and everything that they were, and everything that they had. See how he responded to this grace.